Hi everyone, welcome to our YouTube live. Today again, I am here with my manager, Mr. Fawaz Fossil, who will share with us a little bit about retirement. Because most of the time, every time we see something on TikTok, on YouTube, or social media, people talk about how they can actually protect themselves from retirement, how you can use your property for retirement or plan for your retirement. So how do we protect ourselves from retirement? So today we have our division district director, Mr. FM Fossil from Propnex. My name is Khalid and I'm with us FM Fossil. He's actually my manager for the last 10 years and I definitely learned a lot from him. And I guess it's important for me to invite him to on this platform to actually share with us how we can protect ourselves from retirement. So, Mr. Fossil, can you actually share with us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, hi. Evening once again, everybody. My name is Fawaz Fossil. Just to share a bit about myself, I've been in the industry for about 14 years right now. And I started with doing realignment of portfolios. So at that period when we started, I don't know if it's called even realignment or asset progression, but we were just like, hey, let's sell and upgrade or downgrade. So right now, after about 5-6 years in the industry, then we understand that there are terms called like asset progression, wealth creation, asset management, how can we re-portfolio or refresh. These are the terms that they use in real estate. And what is important at current, it is about retirement. Because what we see in the market right now, a lot of people are concerned about how much they can save or how much they can have for their retirement purposes. So today's topic is gonna be, is it true you can leverage your home to protect your retirement? So you can have a lot of opinions on how you want your retirement to be, but this is just one of those that we use for our clients. Also, we want to have a disclaimer that it can be for everyone, but we have also find a bit of challenge if you are reaching your 50s and if you are living on a 3-room HDB flat and sitting on a negative sale. Then it is a challenge because it is very difficult to restructure your whole portfolio in terms of your CPF, because the only way to go down is a 2-bedroom, and normally it is not easy for you to understand the perspective of space because you've been staying there for a period of time, and especially your accrued interest could be very, very high. That's the reason why you go into negative sale. But nevertheless, do not be despair or disheartened. You can always check with us and we can assist you in your health check to see if there are opportunities for us to advise you better on this. So do you want to start or you have?
Yeah, so actually when you say realignment, negative sale, so from those who are starting their journey in real estate, so how can they protect themselves from a negative sale or prepare themselves for asset progression or retirement planning?
Okay, so if you start early, that will be the best. Because if you start later, it's never too late as well. But it really depends on how you're going to fund your properties. That's more important. So you see, a lot of us, what is best is we love to keep more cash and we can leverage our CPF, right? We want to use as much as CPF on the house so that we can take our cash and we want to go for our holidays or our staycation every month.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if we are doing that constantly without monitoring the accrued interest that is going to incur in your property itself, then it could work against us. Unless you are telling me today you have a BTO or you buy direct from the developers, then it's fine. Because to my understanding, nobody has, in fact, I've never heard people who lost money on their BTOs and on developer sale and all this. So normally on a resale perspective, that is where you will see the valuation limits, you will see your CPF accrued interest shoot up. So this is where if you are buying on a resale market, you have to monitor. Yes, you can use CPF, but you also must check how much CPF you must use and how much cash, because all these will in fact assist you in your retirement. And this is what we're going to speak today, because I feel it is very, very important for people, because when we do a lot of calculations and we see a lot of numbers, a lot of Singaporeans are affected by retirement, because normally we have this intuition that, okay, let's wait and just play with time. Like if it happens, it happens. And if it don't, doesn't matter. Let's hope and see how lucky we are. But
Okay, there's something I want to ask. Most often we see a negative sale from a HDB. Does it? Okay, because previous speaker would be Maria Mariana, who really spoke about the resale HDB transaction, and also how you can leverage from buying your BTO to a private property. So does negative sale actually happen in a private property transaction?
Okay, negative sale does happens in any transaction.
I see.
Okay, the only difference with HDB and private is HDB is more controlled. It's a mass market. Later I will share with you what I mean by it is more controlled. However, on a private property, if it's a leasehold, it is all about timing. So it's all about holding power. You can hold, you have the opportunity to leverage. But if, let's say, I mean, there are people who sell at the wrong time and buy at the wrong time as well. Both transactions, they lose money. So it is all about timing as well. But you must have the holding power.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say before we go into the details, right? Holding power or specific development, which one has more importance?
I mean, it really depends. If you have the affordability, of course, you can go into core central region, which I feel right now at about 2,000 over on a resale market, which is still okay. You can, but it really depends, because people have been giving us feedbacks about sizes. Yes, in order to save your retirement, sometimes you have to take a step back, and there are chances that you're not going to have the space that you have in HDB. So these are things that we can't control. It is what it is. The price for, you can have a 700 square feet going for $1 million versus 1,506 square feet on a HDB executive going at less than $1 million. So really size, you can't compare, but you have to compare value.
I see.
Because your retirement goes based on the value of your property. So these are the things that sometimes you have to take with a pinch of salt, that you know that if you want to go into this upgrade momentum, you have to discount the sizes. Of course, they are the price, but this is something that we always receive. Yeah, I have a big family, yes, but you have to be disciplined in knowing what you want, because you can't have everything, but see what is most important. The resale market, the older condos that are 20 over years, the sizes are still good, so you can consider on that, but of course it is case per case basis, based on project to project basis as well. So I mean, if you ask me, then that could be another concern that we always receive.
Okay, so let's go into the topic. So is it true you can leverage your home to protect your retirement?
Okay, so before we start, we have to understand that how the market sentiments are doing. So these are the common asked questions that we receive from our client. How much do I really need for your retirement? Because a lot of people, in fact, before even I started real estate, nobody talks about retirement, because we tell ourselves, hey, we're going to work until 65 and see what comes after that. But when I was in this industry, when we start to speak to people who are in the know before us, they have already had their retirement plan sorted out. So this gives me an idea of, if these people before us, without even knowing those days that accrued interest really takes an impact of your property, have done their homework, and I think we are already a step back. So how quickly can we progress is how fast can we learn and how fast can we act. So that is more important. So another question that we have, I have fully paid my HDB. Why do I need to start again? Because people doesn't want to go into distress. They want to go into nice holidays. I mean, hey, I don't want to pay anything, man. Why should I go and pay $5,000-$6,000 again? This is what we're gonna touch on later. I'll just give you an example with that. Okay, another one. I am very comfortable now and I don't want to change my lifestyle. So this comes back to point number 2 as well. Okay, why everyone forced me to buy a condo? See, before we do a presentation, right? Every BTO owners, when we come to them and they will say, hey, please don't try to sell me any condominiums and all this. Before even hearing the options that they have. In fact, you can buy whatever that you want. What we are doing, we are assisting you in maximizing your potential in terms of getting you the best returns for yourself. It is for you, for your retirement and for your family. It is not for us. What we are giving you is just an options for you to think about. So it's not just because of buying a condo and buying, upgrade. But looking at it, later you will see from the examples, the only way to go is high. It means you have to scale higher. Because as long as you are scaling high, there are always opportunities for you to come down. Because the example, remember I gave you that if you are coming to your 50s and you're holding on a 3-room, where do you want to go? If you can't move and you are on a negative sale and 8-9 years time, your mortgage have to be paid by fully cash without even utilizing CPF, and that is where you are 58 and 59 years. Don't tell me you're not stressful.
Yeah, I think one of the things you mentioned is also the difference between affordability and sustainability. Because doesn't mean you can afford, it means you can sustain the property or sustain the amount of profit you get from that property, right?
Correct.
Because the pool of buyers, as the older the HDB or even any 99 years private property as well, will face a depreciating lease.
Correct.
So the pool of buyers will be a lot smaller, and then it will affect technically the value of the house, and then it will also affect your retirement planning.
Correct.
Right? Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, we cannot have the best of everything. See, at our parents' time, they buy houses freehold, keep for legacy. It's fine.
Yeah.
But now houses are 99. If you want to keep for long term, then don't forget, if you are paying today 1 million cash, 10 years time you are selling at 1 million cash, no issue. But the
Correct.
moment you use your CPF, it's not going to be a profitable anymore because of the interest.
Yeah.
Alright?
So the management of CPF usage is also important.
Correct.
Whether you are holding on to a HDB or private property, it might be easier to manage when you buy a private property because you will see a significant gain in capital compared to a HDB. It's one of the reasons is also because it's a public housing, so they have to monitor the price increase in the resale transaction, right?
Correct, because there's nothing much we can do about public
Yeah,
housing.
yeah.
The only thing we can control is in a private sector where your neighbors are helping each other out to control that. So now we also have to understand that to have a home, we cannot be emotionally attached to a home, because when the time to move to reap the returns, you have to reap it.
Yeah.
I mean, we understand every one of us has family, every one of us has attachment and emotionally attached to any homes. I mean, we have previous homes and all this. But if you want to achieve your end goal, which is your retirement, then sometimes you have to take the opportunity or the courage to move on. Okay? So now the next one is, I've already touched on that. I only want to pay my mortgage via CPF, which I understand because cash is king. But later I will share with you that sometimes it doesn't work that way. Okay, then the last one is buy new launch, then pay rental, not worth it. This one, at the end of the segment, we will share with you whether it is really worth it or not, because it is not for me to give you the whether to tell you that whether it is worth it or not. But when you see the numbers, you can decide for yourself. Okay, so let's start with to understand the perspective of inflation, because we know that the rising cost of goods and service, the rising cost of land, the rising cost of houses, even with COVID, we can see a straight drastic increase. So why we have to understand that the inflation, because this is where you're going to prepare yourself for your retirement. So if you don't understand inflation itself, where you can see all the, if you look at all the crises, right? All this are all low, but after that there are jumps, their jumps. Of course, the forecast is going to be a flat too, what we really don't know. But looking at it, in fact, from financial crisis itself, 1997 towards until now, prices are going up, not coming down. So that signals to you that everything is going to be going up. In fact, after GST 9% next year, we can feel that, of course, everything is going to be, means your capacity every month is going to be higher. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about 10, 20 years time, no. I mean, before your retirement, you're already feeling a pinch. But doesn't matter about that. Let's see property. Now, these are private properties, not HDB, yeah? So private properties, if you can see the indicators, same thing, I show you the indicators for all the crises. Now, with all the crises, you can see prices up, prices goes up, and prices goes up. Now, this is, of course, COVID, prices goes up. So, literally, in every crisis, yes, there will be a bit of distortion. Means market will take a step back because there are fears from buyers. There are sentiments, especially when interest rates are high. People are just wait and see. They are fearful to see what are the markets going to happen. What's going to happen with the market? But now with this graph, you can see that if you got the opportunity, of course, I'm quite sure you want to buy during SARS or Lehman Brothers, because if you look at the graph, there's no going back. It's all going up. So we have missed the opportunities. What lies here, we don't know because we don't have that crystal ball. But looking at the trend and looking at where the land prices are going, I'm quite sure we are just going up. So it is just a point of entry where you're heading. So to summarize this, it is all about holding power. Just now you mentioned, right? Private property, does it hit like a negative? Yes, if you sell around this period and this period, yes, there will be negative. But if you hold 1, 2 years, 3 years, you will see that it is positive. But of course, we have to work the numbers because we are not sure how much CPF usage that you're going to use and how much is your loan interest rate. Yeah.
Okay, so from the graph that you shown, at every crisis, there is actually an opportunity for you consumers out there to actually take action. Am I right? Yeah. But what happened during a crisis? So what are the measures that usually happen? Interest rate will starts to go up, and what are the kind of fears do people actually come to you and ask?
I mean, okay, see, the normal fears that people come is retrenchment. That's one. If I take a bank loan, I'm scared that if I lose a job, then I cannot pay, which is fair because why? These are all real life events that has already happened. So in terms of this type of concerns, it is a genuine concern. So these are something that is very difficult for us to advise because we don't know which company they are working and we don't know whether the retrenchment is going to take place in their company. What is important is they must be confident itself, they must be fearless itself. But if they think that their company is going for a restructuring, then of course they will be holding back. But if they think that their company is doing well and it is an opportunity, but because the surroundings, means the influence around them are not pushing them, means people are holding them back. Their friends, their family members, they say, don't go in because the market is bad. They don't go this, don't go that. Then it becomes a fear. These are negative inputs that they receive. They wait a bit. By the time they want to go back to the market, they see the price jump. We have seen many examples. I'm quite sure this happens a lot in HDB. I give you another example. So a seller wants to, let's say a seller wants to sell at 600,000 or maybe about 650. So now within a period of 1-2 months, they have an offer of 610, 620, but they still insist on a 650 because they have looked for a private property which maybe cost them about 1.5 million at that point of research. While waiting 3-4 months or 5 months, they might get their 650, but they couldn't chase their private property because why? That 1.5 has already reached 1.6 or maybe higher. And we have seen that many times. It is because why you are chasing the price that increase for private properties are more robust rather than HDB because it is much control, especially when HDB is doing your valuation. So sometimes I always tell my clients that you can take a bit of shortfall on your profits in order to get a right pricing for your private properties. Because if you want to meet your price, because your neighbor sold the same price as yours, then you will eventually spend more on the latest transaction of your private property, which maybe is about 1.6, 1.7. And many times we have seen this in an example. I'm quite sure you have seen it as well, right?
So my experience would be a few of my clients. I won't say a lot. A few of my clients actually, there are a group of people who took action. So in time of crisis, they actually sold their HDB flat and they used their capital to either upgrade to a bigger or use their profits to upgrade to a bigger HDB flat or a private property. So some of them say, hey, wait, I sold at 550 at that time. 3 years or 2 years later, the prices of that unit actually has went up to maybe about 600. But the fact that the property that they are buying or they have bought has actually increased more than 200,000. So even if they sold at 50,000 higher or 60,000 higher or even 100,000 higher, they would have higher amount of cash proceeds. But they couldn't afford to buy the property that they bought a few years ago.
Correct.
So I think that was one of the biggest difference I saw. Actually, one of the most recent clients I had, right, last year they back out from selling their executive apartment. So they did not get the price that they thought they could because the prices were really hiking up.
Okay.
The plan was to upgrade to a 4-room private property. At that time, it was only about 1.6 million. You can get at a very good location. Today, they decided to really sell their HDB unit, but they were outpriced because the price that the units that they wanted to buy, a 4-bedroom condo in District 18, has already reached 1.7, 1.8. So they saw that pinch. So they had no choice but to pay higher than what they should have actually paid maybe 1 year ago, just 1 year ago.
I mean, when you talk about 1 year ago, the disappointment in terms of 100, 200,000 is a lot.
A lot, bro.
Because why? They are only getting 50,000 out of
Yes.
their HDB. So this is what we are trying to tell our clients, that sometimes we have to manage the emotions because expectations versus reality sometimes don't tally, because why? We are chasing a running horse, no?
Yeah.
HDB is controlled. Yes, we can talk about $1 million HDB, which we're going to touch later. Maybe we proceed from here. Okay, this is just an example of the property price trend on all cooling measures. So when you see cooling measures as well, even the property trend are coming up. So we have touched on inflation charts and we have touched on private property and also cooling measures in terms of crisis. We know that about 10, 15 years ago or 20 years ago, from then until period of today, property price goes up. So if you have the opportunity, of course you will buy 20 years ago. Okay, so this is HDB price index. Now we want to share with you the property price index. This is where financial crisis is, and this is where cooling measures. This is the mother of all cooling measures. So this is basin 1 and basin 2. So why I am trying to tell you this, it's because on the first basin, right, buyers around here takes 12 years to recover because they are paying about 2.6% HDB loan, and most of the CPF is going to be about 2.5, so it's about 5.1% per year annual on means their interest. So of course, if you buy BTOs, no issue, but if you buy on a resale market, we see a lot of negative sale in terms of this basin. Unless they sell it around here, then you will see a lot of improvement. Then after that, if those people who buys here will feel the same thing, they take 8 years to recover, and of course thanks to COVID, they sell around here, and of course you can see in terms of prices, yes, prices goes up all the way, but this period of the 8 years, people are doing negative sale as well. So now this is the opportunity. I have a lot of clients who bought property around this period. So let me show you this period. Yeah, they bought property around this period. Yeah, and now they sell here and they did an upgrade. So they waited actually more than 10 years. More than 10 years they waited because it's not that they didn't want to sell, because their property was on a negative. Although they have the opportunity to sell here, they did not take action. So
that's actually a very deep dive here, right? Once the prices went peak and a lot of people did not take action, they went down about 7 to 8%. And it affects a lot of people because you could not upgrade. I think the volume of transaction also went down a little bit. But what happened was a lot of buyers went into buying a BTO instead of a resale unit. Correct. That's why you see a lot of volume of transaction that went down, and therefore prices also went down. And then for sellers who are looking to sell after the peak, they are facing a lot of negative sale. So they actually waited till the recent COVID movement, and then you see another spike in prices, and that's where they have to take action. Because if they don't, then we'll go back to a negative sale. What we are seeing today, the BTO is also increased. The supply of HDB BTO units have also been aggressively increased, and they are trying to shorten the waiting time of the BTO units. So that will definitely impact the supply.
Correct. Because right now, what we are seeing is we are at the peak here.
Yeah.
So of course, next year 2024, we are looking at about 2 to 3% upside. It depends on the supply of BTOs and how fast they can get ready, and it really depends on. I'm quite sure interest rate, they're gonna be 3 adjustment next year by the Fed. So we are just hoping that once interest rate goes down, then of course everybody will come back into real estate market, because I'm quite sure that within 2 to 3 years they can maintain their property.
Yeah. What I feel is that because of the introduction of BTO Plus, Prime, and also the Standard, so people are trying to see how that will work. So those are being implemented second half of 2024. So that's why I think the current HDB prices will start to be stagnant. Like it will not drop like the previous years, right? So but because of the increase in supply, we will see a slight dip, but it will continue to be stagnant for the next few years because of the new classification of the BTOs.
Yeah, so really depends, because why? A lot of people who are purchasing HDB at this current point, they are paying actually a very high premium. But I mean, looking at the graph, of course, the next, even if it goes into another third basin, the graph will always goes up. It's just about timing. But when the graph goes up, if let's say we take an average, another 10 years, how old are you going to be? That's more important. Because remember, the topic today is about your retirement.
Yes.
Okay, this is what I actually like. 460 average, $460 million HDB transaction.
I thought the cooling measures was to slow down the $1 million HDB. So what happened, bro?
Okay, so I mean, if you look at it, a lot of people have. So it's a mixture of within MOP units and also 30 over years unit. So MOP units below 10 years, I think no issue on that. But the concern is today you purchase $1 million executive or an EM, which is about 30 over years old. How much you expect your price to increase? So this is the most frequent asked question. Can my price increase to 1.5 not? So like we were sharing, this is HDB. So they are COV components. So if let's say next time your property, today you buy at 1 million or 1.2, I'm talking about 30 over, 40 over years property. This is a property that is already older properties in mature and non-mature estate. For buyers to buy older properties at 1.5 million, can they get a condo at that kind of price at that period, maybe in about 5 to 10 years? So that question is you have to check, because why? A lot of condos are still affordable at 1.5. The older ones are not the newer ones. So really what we are worried is, unless you are buying to keep, then yes, I have nothing to say. But if you are thinking about, today I buy something EM because it's big and it's true, it's big, it's a bit of a lifestyle, it's rare, the government is not doing anything else, means you are not going for your retirement, you are just going for your lifestyle, because maybe you have a big family. That's something that we cannot control. I agree with that, I respect that. But of course, for us in real estate, we are more concerned about retirement. You can have the biggest of homes, but if your bank is zero, your bank is zero. So you have to understand that, of course you can sell your property at any time, but you must understand, you must make sure that it is aligned with what your goals are and what you want. Now, these 30 years old, 40 years old units, if let's say we look at NDP 2023 speech, The government have already talked about affordability. So they have already mentioned affordability. So you know that it is much controlled. How much control? Of course, they cannot control the million over dollars. They cannot say they want to control totally, but it is controlled because the valuer come from them. So of course, if you have 500, 600 COV to pay, then there's nothing much for me to say. But what I'm trying to tell you is they are controlling it to make it accessible because it's a mass market. It's
Public
a
housing.
housing. So it is for the mass. Cannot be the whole block goes for 1 million and who's going to buy? Because not everybody has the capacity. Now, let's talk about Bala Curve. Okay, we were talking about properties that has the $1 million property that has at least about this mark, right? Okay, so now, what happened when they are expecting that the property goes to 1.5 million here? So, will it really happens? So, this is something that only time will tell, but looking at the graph and the trend, we understand that the older the property, the more difficult that you want to get your loan. And of course, there are devalues in price because it's called decay lease. So this is something which is true because I show you another one that happens where SLA tells you that 99 years lease HDB will go into zero. Then
So this is the only one that is certain, that we know that it will end up $0.
Yeah, and also private property, 99 years lease also will be the same. Now, what is the difference? One is control, one I think has an opportunity to go on block. Now, when is the opportunity to go on block? It depends on the land betterment charge because LBC changes every 6 months. At current, LBC is at the highest rate. It depends on the land that you sit in. So if let's say SLA decrease the LBC charges, then developers will have a bigger appetite to come into a estate or a project that is about 40 years old and maybe about 45 to 50 years old. So if you are sitting on a 99 years old leasehold project, there are opportunities to go for en bloc, which is not certain, but at least there are opportunities. Not say 99 doesn't have, you have the SIRS and the VERS, but will it happen? It will not. Maybe not in your lifetime, but what I'm trying to tell you is the opportunity to seize the profits. Because if not, today we spend $1 million on a HDB, then are you okay with it to go zero in about 30, 40, 50 years time? Definitely nobody wants to do that, right? We have to protect our interests and all this. It is just that we are buying on a sentiments and emotions. But if you are planning properly, then I'm quite sure you are wise enough to make sure that this $1 million is well spent, or you can put it in other baskets as well. Okay, let's look at this. This is just a few examples. If today you buy a HDB and you're holding at about, okay, let's give you another example. Today I buy $1 million HDB. 30 years time, I'm going to retire. And my HDB value is at 600. And if let's say I go down back to HDB, I buy a 3-room or a 2-room, maybe cost at about 350. Now a 2-room also costs at 350 lah.
I don't think a 3-room costs 350. I think it's more than 400 today.
Yeah.
Even the older 3-room flat are already at 400,000.
Yeah.
This is the price of a 2-room flat.
Correct. The 2-room flat will cost this, but of course, if you get at Circuit Road and maybe you can check in what's better?
Circuit Road. I think Circuit Road, the
below 300 2-bedroom.
the remaining lease could be a problem because you cannot buy using CPF.
Yes, correct. You can, but not much.
Not much. Yes. Very restricted.
Yeah. So in short, what we are trying to tell you, are you okay with 250? So the middle for EC, right? This median itself,
Sandwich group of people.
The sandwich group, I feel at 850, yes, opportunity, maybe we can go for retirement at 65. If your property reaches at 1.2, but right now you can see that most of the EC is already 1.2. So it is just going up. Of course, for private properties, we don't ask you to buy a 2 million because your property should appreciate to 2 million, which a lot of properties have actually appreciated 2 million. But at current, right now, you will see a 3-bedroom surpass the $2 million benchmark.
I think going back to the HDB, even at 65, it's not exactly 250 because you still have to consider the basic retirement sum or the full retirement sum.
Correct.
Only if you have enough, then you will see if you buy a 2-room at 350, you will see a 250,000 cash. If not, you would have to use that 250,000 cash to actually support your 2-room flat. So, EC and a private property with a proper calculation of your affordability and sustainability can actually help you for the future. Because even at 65, even if you do not have it's almost impossible because of your EC. There's probably what we call a total debt servicing ratio. So you need to qualify to a certain amount of income. With that certain amount of income, you would have qualified for a basic retirement sum. So even if you retire, you would have fulfill your CPF accounts, and this number is more accurate when you turn 65, right? Even if you lose money, like even if you buy at 1.2 and you have to sell at 65 at 1 million, it's still 1 million.
Alright.
Right.
Better than 250.
Yeah, better than 250, yeah.
But coming back to this, today Tampines is what, 38 years old?
Yes.
So if let's say your retirement in 20 years time, Tampines will be 58 years old, right?
Yes.
3-room cannot be 350.
Oh yeah, can. Yeah, the reason why it can is because it's old and there's not a lot of people can actually use their CPF to buy that property, so the property value will drop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it can be 350.
So it can happen. It can happen. We don't know, but of course we hope not to, because a lot of our clients bought 3-bedroom above 400 at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how much is retirement? So if let's say you want to retire, how much is a nice number for retirement?
Oh, with inflation and the current.
Okay lah. At 62, 5,000 is good.
Yeah. Okay. 5,000 is.
Let's say 5,000 times 12, 21, 1,260 mil. So
Okay, why 21 years?
because from the age of 62 you stop working, right? You live until 83 lah, unless you don't want to live until 83.
Okay, so that you're calculating based on the average.
Okay. So now this is an average. This is a lot of people calculate until 83 because there is an average lifespan in Singapore. But can we lower down our lifespan? Because at 83, 5,000, what you want to spend?
Yeah, what you want to
Supercharged wheelchairs and all this, you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
So I feel maybe 5,000 we want to break down. Okay, for me, this is my dream. I want to retire at 55, which of course almost not say impossible, but unlikely because our lifestyle, we are quite on the go. But we want to have a balanced lifestyle. Means we don't want to work so hard anymore after 55, but we want to have a bit of money. So I think 83 is a bit too far-fetched. You can't enjoy whatever that you want to enjoy. So 21 years not doing anything at 5,000 actually is a lot of money lah.
Yes, a lot of money.
Let's not over speculate at even 83. Let's try to go down early. Okay, let's touch on private property. So this was, if I'm not mistaken, 2017, 2018 news that DBS reported property is gonna be at the 2,900 PSF average, and right now property has an average of 2006 to 2007. Means the new launch is already carrying this price tag in 2003. So we are 7 years away, which I feel another 2 years we have already reached 2009. Okay, so are you going to wait until 2009 then you're going to purchase a property, or 2030? So that really depends on you. Property prices are going to double by 2030. Morgan Stanley also reported 2030. So you have to understand what is happening on 2030. 2030, a lot of hubs are going to be ready, like innovation. We're going to have innovation hub. We're going to have digital hub, aviation hub, Terminal 5. All these are going to be ready. So Punggol Digital Districts is going to be ready by then. So I'm quite sure or certain that Singapore is going to be a very robust, it's like a mini New York kind of thing. Means people it's going to be heavy. It's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of traction, a lot of in and outs, a lot of business.
Yeah, to support the property prices in Singapore also is because of the immigration and the number of number of people in Singapore will also be increased, right?
Correct.
To about 8 million. So they need to have enough supply of houses.
Correct.
to accommodate the number of people in Singapore. So that's also one of the ways to see how Singapore property prices can be protected.
Correct. I mean, we are a country, but don't forget, anything that you want to buy on an island, let's say you go to Phuket, Bali and all this, you want to buy a property, it's expensive.
Yes.
Singapore is an island. That is the reason why it's expensive. But everybody loves to come here. So we can't control the population. We cannot control whatever happens in politics. But what we can control is our destiny, whether we want our what they call this, retirement fund to be healthy for ours or our family. By then, you're also not thinking about ourselves. We are thinking much about our kids, about whether they can afford a home. And this is the concern that we always have, that can my kids afford a house not? Most of the time we see the parents give the kids the home, right? Okay, 24 months, this is what is happening on the private property segments, that you can see that prices are still affordable. An average of OCR property at 1,005. So if you tell me that private property A is too high and all this, still affordable. You can still afford a 3-bedroom at about 1.5 or maybe less, about 1.3, 1.4. You still can get a decent 3-bedroom condo. Of course, it has to be in the outer core region. You cannot expect it to be in the rest core region as well, because prices have already increased. Okay, now let me share with you. This is a real case study. I want to share with you my client, Jim and Tina, 47 and 46. They bought a home from HDB about 20 over years ago. They have fully paid their property using CPF. Okay, so along the way, they top up their CPF. They have bonuses, they top up their CPF. So, of course, Jim earns about 11,000 and Tina earns about 9,000. Okay, so you might want to say that, hey, of course, they are high earners. They can, in fact, upgrade. It is not that, okay? You see their age at 47 and 46, they are willing to go forth. If you are young, you are 30s and you have the opportunity, even you don't need to earn about 9,000, even if you earn about 5 to 6,000, there are opportunity. But of course, the appetite for the size of unit or the configuration of unit differs. So you have to understand that the affordability doesn't belongs to us, it belongs to the bank. The banks are more worried to loan you the money rather than you are paying the banks. So you really have to check how much is your loan approval. From that loan approval, that TDSR, total debt servicing ratio of 55%, the bank has already put confidence that you are able to fork out to pay your mortgage. The one that is not able to fork out is because you have to change your lifestyle. That is, that's the most difficult part, because you want to have this, you want to have that, then you have to be disciplined in that, because that we can't control, only you can control it. Okay, so currently in their CPF, they have 200 and 150K respectively. SA is quite healthy. Contribution per month is about $1,140 and $479 to their SA. So after the sale of the flat, 440,000 inclusive of accrued interest is gonna be refunded to their property.
So that is also inclusive of the principal.
Everything,
okay.
So accrued interest plus principal, okay?
Okay,
so right now, so when we did a calculation with them, we tell them, if today you sell your property, their valuation is at 680. So you imagine, this is an executive apartment in Punggol. Older ones, their valuation is at 680, and today they carry a cash proceeds of 260. Now, if let's say they don't want to sell, if today they hold, because they are 47, it takes them 8 more years to reach their retirement, right?
Correct.
Okay, sell after 8 years. Sell after 8 years, if we do a calculation based on whatever that CPF that they have used, their CPF will increase to 511.
So that is the amount of CPF in their house.
In their house.
Okay.
Because even if you have fully paid your property using CPF will increase until the last day on earth.
So you mean the CPF accrued interest will not stop? So from the amount of CPF you calculated earlier was 420.
Yes.
It will then be more than 500,000.
Yeah, it will be 511,000 when they reach 55.
Okay.
Now I assume, my assumption is we don't drop their property price.
Okay.
To be fair to them, we don't drop their property price. In fact, 10 years time or 9 years time, their property already reached 30 years.
Okay.
And we know that from the Bala curve and decay list, what's going to happen. Even if we take 680, they're gonna receive only 169,000. So of course you will
So where did the difference go?
different goes into the interest of your
CPF.
CPF.
So they will return more in their CPF.
Yes, correct. So of course you will have more. I mean, your money doesn't disappear. Your money still goes to you. It goes back to your CPF. Now it really depends on your retirement account. How much is your retirement account? Because why? They have to lock your retirement account, right? Okay, let's see now the retirement. So Jim, his total retirement based on a 3.5% annual is 271 when he reached 55, and Tina 280. So if you look at the components, I have done calculation based on this is their OA and this is their SA. Okay, so based on their OA, they will have about, if let's say we plus, total is 623,000, and 352,000 can be refunded. Means they can take out this money. They can take out this money because the rest has to be kept in their retirement fund. For Tina as well, OA, and this is their SA. So you can see Tina also very healthy, 557, and refund will be 277. So now if you look at it, if you were them, you will tell me that, hey, if I liquidate, I no need to wait for 62. No, I just go at 55. I sell everything. I can get 1.39 million, right? Which is good enough. Maybe at 55, okay lah. I don't want to stay in Singapore anymore. Maybe I want to stay in JB, or I want to stay in Bali or Phuket. 1.3 is sufficient, right?
But what are they buying?
Okay, so this one is they haven't buy anything yet.
Okay, nothing to buy. Okay.
So this is just an example. I give them an example. If you do a early retirement plan, just liquidate everything. Your retirement fund is parked, and you just take 1.3 million, not doing anything. This is what you're going to receive. Now, what we did for them was, okay, this is just to reiterate where I get the 3.5.
The full retirement sum.
Full retirement sum, okay? So this is the FRS. I based on a 3.5%.
Yeah. So today the retirement sum has is increasing year by year, yearly by 3.5%, and government has already informed us that they will increase 3.5% until 2027. After 2027, then they will probably recalculate again and see if they will either they maintain at 3.5%, they drop to maybe 3%, or increase to more than 3.5%.
Okay, so this one you have to do your due diligence. So this is for people who are 30 until 51. You can take a screenshot. This is how your full retirement sum is going to be like. Okay, so first they have to understand, because today they sell, the question they're going to ask is, hey, where to buy? Because prices are all very high, right? So if you can see on the resale market here, resale market is here, and this is the new launch. There's about 889 PSF difference. And it really depends. You can buy a resale as well, or you can buy you can buy a new launch. It really doesn't matter. It is to your capacity of what you want. So now they want to stay somewhere in the east. Right now, their comparison, what they feel is they have missed. Okay, later I will share with you what they have missed. Yeah. Now we talk about new trend first. Okay, these are the prices of the new launch. You see, if you talk about outside core region, right? Outside core region, the prices are still at about 2,100.
Is that a resale or?
This is the new launch price, new sale price. Okay, this is trending. You can see that, of course, Orchard Road and all the CCR area has increased. There are prices that are higher than this. Of course, the resale is slightly lower, but this is on an average price. Okay, so the opportunity to make them understand that if they were to buy a new launch, they have to understand that 2.1 or 2001, 2002 PSF is an average for a 3-bedder. Of course, the 1-bedder can go to 2006 PSF, 2007. Okay, so we do a comparison because the nearest that they missed a project is called Sengkang Grand Residence. Okay, so they were saying that the reason why they sell their house, they wanted to go into Sengkang Grand, but because opportunity lost, it takes a while for them to sell their property. So Sengkang Grand has done about 1,948, which is still cheaper than the 2001 progression. Yeah. Of course, the older ones are slightly cheaper, but he wants something new. He wants integrated development. So why integrated developments is because you have everything under one roof.
Okay, there was a question last week. Somebody was asking what's the difference between the integrated development and a normal condo development.
You're talking about also mixed development. Mixed development also you have shops, but you're talking about integrated is a hub. You got MRT, you got bus, bus interchange. This one has library and also has.
So you have everything under one roof. So that is what you call integrated.
Yes.
So a mixed development is just you will have shops inside the development of the condo.
Yes, correct. I mean, of course, some mixed development. I'll give you an example. Piccadilly Grand. Piccadilly Grand has also called a mixed D because the MRT is at the side as well. So it's around the vicinity is because accessibility is still called that way. Okay, we did another condo comparison in terms of the east. Since he have already missed Sengkang Grand, the nearest to it was Pasir Ris 8. So Pasir Ris 8 was going at 1,008 PSF average. Now we compared prices with Treasure, which is just TOP. Just TOP is at 1,006, which is now already increasing. Of course, the older ones, Tapestry, is still higher. So Treasure, of course, we will see the price trend goes up at current because when we do the graph, the transactions are still coming in. It's not retracted. So what we are trying to tell them that you can consider Pasir Ris 8 because it is not far from Sengkang Grand in terms of pricing.
Yeah.
And knowing that Pasir Ris has another MRT cutting across the Cross Island line, which is very interesting development because this is a wide envelope project. So I feel that they shouldn't lose the opportunity to purchase it. Okay, so we did another comparison because the last condo that launched was actually Coco Palms. So Coco Palms launched at 1,448 PSF. Okay, sorry, have done at 1,448 PSF. Dines, these are all CDL projects. This is at Pasir Ris Close. So these are actually about 5 minutes walking distance away. So these are the nearest comparison. So if let's say now we do a comparison in terms of prices that Coco Palm started lease at 2,008 and going for 1,448, right now at 2,003, last transaction done is at 1,706. This is actually a renovation cost which is 50,000, and you know that 50,000 now 3-bedroom also is 50,000. So we are just giving an average. So today you buy a Coco Palm, actually you are paying 1,756 PSF. But if you buy a fresh lease at 2,2021, you buy Pasir Ris 8, you still can get at 1,844 PSF, which is not a very big jump. How do we get this calculation is because within 2023 to 2008 is 15 years. So we just have to minus off 99 years. This lease might divide by the lease of Coco Palms, and we times the PSF that they purchase. Okay, and we will receive. Plus the 50K, we will get this amount. Okay?
So you're showing the difference in PSF. So you bring back Coco Palms resale price today and a fresh lease. It will cost you close to 1,008.
Yeah.
So buying Pasir Ris 8 at 1,008 PSF actually makes sense because of the lease.
Because 15 years fresh lease.
Okay, but how about the quantum?
In terms, okay, of course. Now, when we compare about quantum, yes, there are differences because the 3-bedroom is above $2 million. Of course, the entry of Coco Palms, those days, a 3-bedroom will cost about maybe 1.3 to 1.4. So it is really a much different. But of course, if you look at the quantum there, it is way vast because of the land sale price. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, but if you compare, 15 years ago, there weren't any mixed D, right? If you're talking about Pasir Ris 8.
But so how do you look at it? Do you look at it as PSF or do you look at it at quantum? In terms of, why I say quantum is the actual price tag of that property, right? Okay. One thing is we don't talk about, we don't use the word PSF or we don't use PSF to calculate when we buy HDB.
Yeah,
because
correct.
it's a public housing. It's more of a 3-room, 4-room, 5-room. And the size of the unit, right? And then how many bedrooms they have. But when we go into a private property transaction, usually people will ask about PSF. So do you look at PSF and say, yes, this is cheap today, or you look at the price tag itself?
Okay, so for me, this is my personal opinion. If today I tell you a property that only sells at 900 PSF, would you buy or not?
Wow, then depend on the size, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you go to Sentosa
Bro,
Cove,
where to get 900?
900, 1,000 PSF, you can buy Sentosa Cove. But Quantum is 5-6 million, correct? Or 20 over million, right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So you understand where I'm coming from on the PSF.
Okay.
It is a benchmark. It's just, it's like something that you look out for to understand how much the price has moved within this.
I see. Okay.
But at the end of the day, today, if it's still 1,000 PSF and your loan can only afford as much and the quantum is already 2 to 3 million, yes, of course, the affordability is not much. This is just a guide. So
this PSF is used to understand the value of that property. But when you buy, your affordability has to look at the price tag.
Okay, see, a lot of people, when they come to see property, they talk about PSF, but they forgot also about the quantum.
Yeah.
For me, I like to go on the quantum. You can afford or not. When you go into quantum, when you want to negotiate, then you negotiate based on the last PSF, which makes sense. Because the 2-bedroom PSF, the 3-bedroom PSF, and the 1-bedroom PSF, all different ones.
Different, yes.
The smaller it is, the higher the
Correct.
PSF is.
The biggest difference I see is when you deal with or your clients are from a HDB upgraders. They will talk about more of quantum. But if your clients are from a private property, whether it's a landed or they're selling the private property, they usually don't talk about the price tag. They usually talk about the PSF. They will say that, oh, this development is selling at this price, at this PSF. So I'm not going to sell mine at that PSF. So you have to do the kind of a reverse calculation. But when a HDB sellers trying to upgrade to private property, most of the time it's more about the quantum itself, and then they look at the PSF.
I think it's much more for condos owner, because if you are now staying in a landed or 3,000,
their understanding is very different.
Yeah, okay. So I give you an example. Beside you, a condo that goes for 2,000 PSF, you will have a big semi-D. You cannot be calling 2,000 PSF because your neighbor calling 2,000 PSF. Because why? 2,000 PSF, yours will be 9 million, no?
Yeah.
Because your surrounding. So all these are very subjective. Yes, people can do comparison in PSF. People can do price in quantum. But like I was sharing with you, it is really depends. Because why? If you want to do comparison, then you have to do apple to apple. A 3-bedroom to 3-bedroom. You cannot buying a 1-bedroom at a 3-bedroom PSF because it's going to be cheaper, what?
Yeah.
So it still comes back to quantum. Okay? Okay, let's move on. Okay, so what they bought is they bought a 2.3 million 3-bedder at 1,766 PSF, cheaper than what was informed to them at 1,008. So they actually come in at a very, very good price. Now,
so based on PSF, it's like buying. This is a new launch, right?
This is a new launch, no, from developer, no.
It's like buying a resale property.
Correct.
With zero lease.
Correct. That's the reason why we feel that, hey, this is a good opportunity to seize. Honestly, there are still units around this PSF. So to get this type of PSF on an integrated development, it is really a steal.
Comes with a lot of accessibility, convenience.
Everything is there. So they like it. They like the area because why? In Pasir Ris itself, there are recreations. You have the park in front. You have, it's not a big estate. It's a small estate, but you have everything. You have even a mall. So I feel why they buy this. See, at their capacity, now you will tell me, hey, every month I'm going to pay 8,004, no? They are not complaining because why? They have the capacity. The banks actually gives them at 1.6 million loan and more. But they just want to do 1.4 because whatever that they have just now, they make everything, they dump inside.
Okay.
So it's either they want to do a homestay or they can do an exit plan before even 55.
Okay.
Now, what
they did was the cash proceeds from the house, which is about 200 over thousand, right?
Correct.
They use that cash proceeds for down payment. So they don't keep any cash, but it's more of protecting their retirement.
Correct. Okay. So what they need is they want to put everything in, so make this as a saving account.
I see.
This is like their bank. So they make their property, their asset like a saving, like a bank, and they don't see they have a long-term plan, but they also feel that if they can reap returns before they're 55, they will take it. Okay, so they are flexible in it. So that doesn't mean, hey, I'm going to pay 8,004 throughout. I'm talking about 3% interest rate. If interest rate goes down in 2 to 3 years' time, I'm quite sure they can, in fact, refinance. Okay, so this is the Sengkang Grand. Sengkang Grand, a 3-bedroom has done 1.9. Okay, 1,009.
Some sale recently.
Yes, recently has done 1,009. Now, in your opinion, in about 8 years' time, what do you think? You're talking about now Cross Island Line all run already, How much do you think Pasir Ris PSF is going to be?
Pasir Ris.
Yeah, Pasir Ris 8.
They bought at 1,007.
1,007.
Okay, so if you ask me, because I just transacted one opposite Pasir Ris 8.
Okay.
You're right. I bought at about 1,008 PSF.
1,008. So in 8 years' time, what do you think is going to happen?
In 8 years' time, okay, it's not exactly at Coco Palms. Coco Palms is already asking at about 2 million. So based on PSF, right, I think once Pasir Ris 8 makes about 300 or 400 PSF, because of the accessibility and convenience, the amount of BTOs that they will be MOP, it kind of ripple effect to the property prices there. So they will, maybe a resale 4-bedroom could be about 2.2.
Okay, 2.2 means you're talking about 2,200 PSF
Yeah,
or 2.2 million.
2.2 million.
2.2 million looks cheap. Okay, never mind. We stick.
Lose cheap.
Looks cheap for a 3-bedroom, right?
Okay, let's
because
see.
why? Opposite them is gonna be Pasir Ris Grove.
Yes.
You're talking about sea-facing unit, a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom. If I have the opportunity, I feel that one will go 1 million. Ken Gold has the capacity to go 1 million because it's identical to North Wave.
Okay.
North Shore. So it is identical. And if let's say a HDB fresh lease opposite you in 5 years time or 6-7 years time is going to go at 1 million, that doesn't make sense. I go at 2 million one.
Yeah.
I'm a 3-bedroom integrated, a development. But let's not dwell too much on the pricing. We just do a conservative pricing, okay? So just now I was sharing with you, right? So what they did was they dumped 770,000. Husband and wife dumped, show hand, everything into their new house. Now, assuming they keep for 8 years, right? Their CPF inside their CPF will be
1.1 million.
1.18 million. Very high, right?
Yeah.
This is when 55 means they can draw. Don't forget that their SA, their retirement account is almost full. It's almost full.
Okay.
So this is just, I want to reiterate that this was the figure just now, that the profile of the buyers. So in about 8 years' time, they're going to be having combined 1.18 million in their CPF. So their loan balance is going to be 871,000 in 8 years' time. If let's say today I sell at 2,200 PSF, cheap not? I mean, we're talking about 8 years' time. 2002 PSF right now is 2007, 2008, okay? Property price at 2.8 million. Their loan balance is only 871. Total CPF refund 1.8. So now, they got a 813,000 cash proceeds. So you remember, if they were to keep their HDB at 55, they get 1.3 million.
Yes.
Now, if they go up...
That 1.3 million is also before they bought a property. So it'll be lesser than 1.3 million.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We just talk about total liquidation.
Okay.
Now, for them right now, if their liquidation at 55 years old, same, but they need to top up 60,000 in their SA because not enough.
Okay.
Okay, because they use up everything already. They top up, they are left with 1.930, almost 2 million.
Cash.
Liquidation. Means liquidation at 1.93 because their CPF retirement fund is already done. So now, we go back at 8 years' time. Okay don't buy a 3-room, buy a 4-room at maybe 500,000. I still got 1.5 million.
Yeah.
Because why? I still got cash payout later for my retirement after 65. So there are, you see, it's just a 8 years timeline that you sacrifice a bit to increase your capacity. Yeah, you change a bit of lifestyle, you take a sacrifice, you discipline yourself for 8 years to increase at least a good 600,000 in capacity, Excuse me. Now, I give you an example. Today, if they were to work, they are earning about 20,000 a month. In 8 years' time, how much can they save?
Won't be up to that
I
amount.
mean,
lah.
honestly, I know people who earns 8,000 to save 100,000 in 10 years or so, not easy. Lah.
Yeah.
So why we are sharing with you is because real estate, we have seen this type of numbers work out. So, of course, it is not for everyone, but it can be for everyone if you take the opportunity. It doesn't have to buy a 3-bedroom. It depends on case per case and capacity basis.
It also look like the numbers are not exaggerated because it's quite safe to say that the growth that you actually put, the capital appreciation that you actually included is also a very safe amount.
Yeah.
And the amount of CPF that is going to be refunded at that time is also will be refunded safely. It won't be like a negative sale. And you're buying something that has a lot of accessibility, convenience. There's a lot of major developments that's happening in that district as well, not only in Pasir Ris but also in Tampines.
Yeah.
So that could actually also contribute to the price growth in that area. So with proper planning, you just have showed how safely it can be done.
Correct. And you see, I also never used 2009 PSF as a calculation method. We are going very conservative. It goes higher is a bonus to you. But what is important is now at 55, you can also retire. No need to wait 62. So by 62, you can enjoy your money.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully lah. I mean, at the end of the day, it really depends.
That's a lot of difference in terms of their liquidation if they don't make the move from HDB to private property.
Yeah. So then now you will understand that why we are asking our clients to move up. Remember the rule of a thumb. As long as you are scaling up, you have the opportunity to scale down. If you never scale up, you will be stagnant and there is nothing much for you to move, because when the time negative sales hits in, when the time your valuation limits hits in, that is where your cash and that's where your retirement and your old age, and when you are stressed, I think the hospital also calling you lah. So you have to protect your interests, you have to protect your property prices, you have to protect your retirement. The most important thing is just seek out for a second opinion. If you can reach out to anyone who is in the know, reach out for a second opinion to at least to have a better understanding, to see where you are. It's not necessary to sell and buy. We are not here to ask you to force you to sell and ask you to force to buy. It is for you. We are not doing it for ourselves. We are just giving you advice. See whether is there some options for you to work on. Okay, so let's recap. You can increase your capacity by retirement, reportfolio-wise, refresh and right-sizing. So we all know about that. Fully paid home doesn't guarantee your retirement value. We have already understand.
That was one of the most important takeaways I have today, was fully paid property doesn't guarantee your retirement value. This is something that people don't really look into, and yet they refuse to understand how, which is your next point, how CPF can actually help you for retirement. It's either it helps you or it's against you. So you need to know how to use it to help you for your retirement.
Use it wisely.
Yep.
So remember, I was sharing with you 8 years. If you remain uncomfortable for 8 years to earn 600,000, what are you waiting for? I mean, of course, capacity, we understand they are having a better pay scale than you, but it doesn't matter. You can start small also. If you don't start, then you will never start anywhere. Okay, there are always opportunity. You just have to seek what is the best option for you.
I guess uncomfortable means still structured, right? It's still on a safe zone, not something that would make your life even worse.
I mean, you see, your life cannot get worse because the banks are more afraid than you. They can only loan you up to your certain
which means based on the mortgage servicing ratio or total debt servicing ratio.
So you don't need to worry about affordability. The affordability, let the banks handle. They will tell you what you can afford. Then you see whether what you can buy from your CPF and from your money movement. Don't worry. Today you want to buy a 3 million. The banks doesn't want to loan you. You cannot buy. So what is important? The indicator you have to get from the bank itself. They are the one who's going to loan you the money. They are more stressful than you. So always trust the bank, okay? And don't worry about the bank's gonna take my money, take my property if I cannot pay. We have to start positive, because the moment you think about the bank's gonna take if I don't pay, then it's already negative. We shouldn't have that type of aspect. Alright? The right way to move is to be confident that I can pay. But if you think you cannot pay, then don't go commit into higher lah. That's what we're trying to say. Don't go higher, go somewhere where you can afford. Okay, so new launch has a better capital appreciation value, which we have already informed that now if you earn 600,000, right? What is 2 to 3 years rental? If you spend about maybe 60,000 in 2 years or 2.5 years for rental, you still earn a good decent more than half a mil. So this is where your rental perspective, or people say that, hey, but I sell my house, I have to go into rental. This address the issue because why? The capital appreciation based on a conservative 2,200 PSF is legit. So you have that capacity to breathe.
Yeah, the other thing is also we make plans calculated risk. So it's not that technically all new launches can actually appreciate that much. So it has to be calculated also. You have to be a little have better understanding on what the new launch projected selling price on in terms of when it enters resale transaction later on in the future, because that has to be included in your planning.
Okay, so this is the end of this segment. So of course, we have a lot of things to share with you. Even if it's not upgrading to private property, HDB to HDB restructuring, refresh or reportfolio, we still can do for you. It really depends. If we can help you, we will assist you. Some workable, some there's a bit of complications, and there are also a bit of challenges. So reach to us and we can always meet you and advise you what is the best possible options that you're going to receive.
Okay, maybe before we end, let's talk about 2024. What do you think is the market direction for 2024?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I'm going for retirement. Okay. The progression, okay, there are progressions. I feel private properties 3% HDB about 2 to 3%. Every market movement, every market segments are moving up directions. It's just that we are waiting for interest rate. If the interest rate goes down, right? Then
But it actually already went down.
yeah, people are waiting for lower. Maybe 2%. If you can get lower, you will wait, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now, if it gets lower, but the property price goes higher, then it still comes back to square one. But it really depends. It really depends on what you want. But I feel that we are going on an uptrend because land prices are still on the high. You have to do your own homework and your judgment call to see what is the best. Because why? At the end of the day, the news are all that. Read the positive news. Don't read the negative news. The negative news are there to scare you. Do your due diligence to consult your real estate salesperson. See what is the best. Like I was sharing with you, there is no harm asking for a second opinion, even if you don't buy. What is important is, are you in the know of your retirement process? That's more important. So literally, it is not upgrading. It also can be downgrading. It also can be a refresh amongst the same configuration of HDB. What is important is, are you taking steps to protect your retirement? That is the question that you have to ask yourself.
So what are the things you are particular, or what are the things you do for your clients during a presentation, or what are the things you shared? There's a lot of things you shared with us in the team that you ensure us to do for our clients. What are those things that?
I think the basic checklist, what is important is, of course, affordability, capacity, the wants of the client. Whether the clients are, has a very big appetite for risk. Because you see, they can have, you can have a client who can afford a $2 million loan, but because of the monthly payment they are afraid of, they will want to go for $1 million loan. So it really depends. So you have to work on a structure basis to see what is their end goal. If my client is on let's say they are in their 30s, then I will ask them to buy something to start off, something that is small, something that is affordable, because this is eventually not the house that they're going to stay. Honestly, even for me, I think one day I'm going to end up maybe a 3-bedroom HDB and all this. Why are you going to pay so much and all this? But I want to reap as much returns that I have.
During the period where you can afford to leverage on your loan, and when you're still working and still generating income. So you're reaping all the benefits at that working age, so that you can retire safely.
Yeah, that is ideal, but if there is no necessity, then I no need to sell because as long as I can build my portfolio, why should I go and sell and buy a 3-room HDB which is going to be very comfortable, nothing much to clean. But that is like if I need to reap most of the returns. But if I'm working progressively towards where I want to be, then there's nothing much to sell lah. Maybe sell what that I need to.
So today's takeaway, how do you protect your retirement? Most of the consumers out there, right, is actually they are not aware of the options that they have. Right. So today we have seen how moving from a HDB, not moving from a HDB can actually cost you millions of dollars. Right. Not knowing how to manage your CPF could also make you lose money in terms of your retirement as well. And also how upgrading can help you protect your retirement in terms of liquidation when you turn 55 instead of 65. So thank you very much, Mr. FM Fossil from Fossil Division. Please get in touch with us. Not only me or him, but the rest of our team members from Fossil Division, we are always together sharing information with our clients and also ourselves, so that we will be remain updated with the current market situation and also how we can help our clients better. Hopefully, we'll see you in the next one. You can always reach out to any of our Instagram or TikTok. Do catch us in our next live, hopefully next week, depending on my producer, Mr. Hafiz. That's all from me. Anything from you for us?
Okay, thank you for having me and having me to share some of my insights, and let us empower you so that you can have a better retirement.
That's all from us. Thank you so much. See you guys again. Bye-bye.